it's time for IP in the news. So what are we talking about today?
Well, I was shocked to find this article that said, and this article was on Music Business Worldwide. Was shocked to find this. It's by Murray Stassen, and TikTok actually owns a patent, and now they're filing for a trademark.
So that would imply that TikTok is going to create its own music platform?
Music streaming service. And what's interesting is that they have some twists and turns to it that other platforms don't have, but the patent was applied for in 2018 and granted in 2021. So even though you think, well, how could they get this with all these other platforms? Things were still different in 2018. And I just think it's interesting that they actually get patents, because you never think of these streaming services as having patents. Of course, they're going to get a trademark, and the trademark is TikTok Music.
Right. Well, I think it's kind of funny that, TikTok would get a music streaming service. I guess it makes sense, but it's like they should also have a dancing service, right? TikTok should start a dancing club. And I guess dancing and music go together, right? So it does make a certain amount of sense, I guess.
I guess it does. It's just, I think that patents are important, and usually tech companies and companies like this ignore that, but TikTok didn't.
Right. Well, if you're going to get into it and you're going to go up against Apple and, Pandora and some of the other streaming services, I guess a little protection, can go a long way, or at least, give them some help. So it's time for Richard's Roundtable now, and we'd like to go around with the group. Dr. Gilda, like I said, so good to see you here again. What is your thoughts about TikTok and streaming and music?
I think it's wonderful that TikTok is getting into that. TikTok has gotten out there in quite a large way in recent times. For a long time, they were the don't tell anybody I'm using it site. And now they have just blossomed, where people who are doing very traditional kinds of things are showing themselves on TikTok. So it is becoming more acceptable, it seems. I don't know, we hear about the negatives as well as the positives, and children shouldn't be on this and that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think it's a wonderful thing that they're adding music to their whole spectrum of services.
Yeah, you make an interesting point, which is that as these streaming services become more popular, more companies start jumping on the bandwagon because they want to reach more people. And as a consequence, the platform sort of becomes more commercial and more, sort of less raw, because now you have people who are trying to make money out of it. So
Right.
I guess, what you said is right. This is a natural next step. So Kenya, what are your thoughts? Kenya, you're on mute.
I'm trying to get my life in order. Sorry about that. So I think it's brilliant, and for a few different reasons. TikTok has been the tool that a lot of artists, especially a lot of younger artists who are breaking into the music space, have actually broken their records, and it's gone viral on TikTok. So it makes a lot of sense that they would create the streaming platform, because now they can use the viralness, for lack of better words, that it's created for artists to now become a competitor to Apple, right? Apple doesn't have that same capacity to break new music, right? It's almost like I think of TikTok as the digital audio version of what radio used to be when we used to break records back in the day. So I think it's smart that they've jumped into this space and are going to be competing with Apple.
No, that's a great comment. And you're right. I mean, Apple has to rely on the more traditional venues to promote their music. And TikTok has a whole ready-made audience for their stuff. So,
and a visual
one too. So, wow, that is so amazing. Q, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's really fascinating, and to echo what Kenya mentioned, because they have a much more newer audience, I think that they're going to run into a lot of challenges with a lot of the established companies that already exist, such as how do you get content from Sony and Atlantic Records and all of those major brands now to jump onto the platform. And I think that's one of the things I've always loved about the entertainment industry. They're always looking for something new. So because TikTok, again, has all of the new talent and they have all of the new songs and people are trying to reach the younger audience, they are going to run into a lot of different challenges in trying to reach the older audience that already have pre-existing subscriptions such as Spotify and Apple Music. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of paying for another service or another fee. But I think it's really smart because, again, they can monetize that. And I do foresee maybe as the talents start to grow and emerge, they start to also add additional subscriptions, or they try to branch out and to get a service or to get their content on Spotify and Apple Music, because again, they want to be able to reach a larger audience. I also think TikTok has a long way to go before they try to dominate this space, because we're also starting to see that a lot of artists are trying to get access to their rights and their residuals, and they want to get that protected. And lastly, I think it's also very interesting that this is probably going to be the first Chinese major platform in the music industry that's combating with a lot of other countries such as the United States, where we again have Spotify and Apple Music, and I believe Tidal just was recently purchased by another company as well. So I'm interested to see where this goes, because as we all know, like China is really big on censoring, and they're really, really big on that. So it'd be interesting to see if they allow other stuff to get released out there in the world, but they won't allow it in their own country. So it's really interesting to see where this is going to go. So it's a very smart move, obviously, but also very interesting to see how this ends up.
Yeah,
Great.
I think you're right. And I think you made a huge point there, that anybody that's going to start something new like this better figure out the revenue sharing piece of it, because artists just aren't going to take it anymore where they give away their content for free. So
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Sue, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually love this. And the reason is I've been asked recently to get on TikTok. Well, actually, people have come over the last year, get on TikTok. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And this is more of a science education piece, which I thought was confusing to me, because the TikToks I've seen have been more silly, but in the science community, they believe that that's a good way to educate people on different science things like we do, food upcycling. And then, of course, I believe that music is a great way to communicate your message. And I had an artist write a song and produce a song about food waste. And so I'm like, whoa, maybe there's a way that you can put music for educational purposes and messaging purposes to get something impactful like upcycling food to eliminate food waste out there to people and have it fun. Hey.
absolutely.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great idea too. So I guess from the passage to profit side of things, thumbs up to TikTok, and you've got 1000% of our support going forward.
They're capturing that in between audience. They're capturing the high school students.
Right.
And then moving into young adulthood. And that's where a lot of marketers want to catch people. So I think that's why they're doing so well. Anyway.
Yep. Well, whoever created TikTok knew what they were doing for
So
sure.